Alright, 2014 AP BC Calculus. Free response questions, number 5, and number 6. So let's give this one a shot. This one looks horrible. It's really not that bad. It says to find the area of R, so that's just a simple integral. The area is the top one minus the bottom one. And it's the integral from 0 to 1 of x e to the x squared minus 2x. And it makes sense that these cancel out because you're adding the area on the bottom, dx. Now, break this into 2, but first, let's do some substitution. U equals x squared, du equals 2x dx, dx equals du over 2x, u of 0 equals 0, plug in 0 here, u of 1 equals 1, plug in 1 there, and all this becomes integral from 0 to 1. If you plug this in, I'm going to just sub it in right now. X e to the u du over 2x. So that'll cancel, left with a 2. I'm going to put the 2 up front. We're breaking this apart, so we just end up with eu du, and the other one I just leave as is, integral from 0 to 1x, 0 to 1 in the x world. And somehow I made a mistake. So that would be 2x dx. So we get 1/2 e to the u 0 to 1 plus x squared 0 to 1. And put in 1, put in 0, 1/2 e to the first minus e to the 0, also known as 1, plus 1. End up with 1/2 e minus 1 plus 1. If you change this to 2 over 2, you get negative 1/2 plus 2/2, which is basically e plus 1 all over 2. They'd accept either answer, so you don't have to simplify, but if you did, great. Alright, onwards. And by the way, I don't like 3-part questions because each part is pretty tough. Usually it's not. Oh well, only part of it's going to be tough. And that one is doable, but there's a lot going on there. So B says set up but do not solve. Integral gives volume of the solid when R is rotated about the horizontal line y equals -2. So that's y equals -2. So we got some problems here. This is very challenging to envision. We're going to take this thing all the way around, and it's just difficult to see it. So all the way on the outside is this piece, which is 2, and this piece, which is x e to the x squared. So it's a circle. It's technically a washer. So the volume is the integral, and we'll throw the pi out front, 0 to 1 of x e to the x squared plus 2. That gets us all the way up there. Now the hard part, at least for me, what's this? That's what we're going to subtract out. Minus. So hard to explain this into words. I had a little trouble figuring it out myself, but this is 2 minus 2x, and you might want to say, well, no, that should be 2 minus -2x, but then you'd be adding them. So I think the best way to think about it is if this is y equals 2x, and I wanted to know, oh, it's not an area. I want to know this is 2. All right, what is this distance? That would be right there, 2 minus 2x. So it doesn't matter that it's upside down. It's a difference, so it's going to be an absolute value sort of thing. Absolute value of -2x is just 2x. It's 2 minus 2x. That's going to bother a lot of people, but sorry, that's really all I got. Oh, and I forgot pi r squared minus pi r squared dx. And that's it, which is plenty. And write but do not evaluate an integral. Expressing this kind of stuff. So let's do this piece first. This is 1 and this is 1, so that's 2. So the length is 2 plus. And this is a squared b squared c squared. This is 1, I thought. Yeah. It's not drawn to scale. I don't think it is. This is 1 and this is 2, again absolute value. So this is square root of 1 squared plus 2 squared, square root of 5. Plus, now we're doing a arc length formula, which won't be on this year's AP exam, but hey, suck it up. 0, 1, square root of 1 plus the derivative of the top one. What I'm doing right now is trying to find this arc length. X e to the x squared dx. Hey, I'm done. No. I would have thought you were done because it didn't say keep going, but might as well. We need the derivative of this, so let's just do that out to the side. D dx x e to the x squared is derivative, leave it, plus leave it, 2x derivative e to x squared. I'm going to factor out the x squared for no reason at all. I think it might look simpler, but I could be wrong. So length is 2 plus root 5 plus, remember it said leave the integral, and you would have a very, very good discussion about, well, if I'm leaving the integral, why do I got to take the derivative of the inside? So it doesn't say leave the derivative, it says leave the integral, which, yeah, got me, but that's life. 1 plus 2x squared dx. That is it. Challenging little problem, which is why I'm giving you so much practice. Wouldn't give you practice if I didn't think it was hard. Alrighty. Taylor series. This looks horrible. It's not. It looks confusing. It is, but it's not that bad. First thing it says, find the value of r, which is the radius convergence. So this is a ratio test. I am going to cancel out. I'm going to say ignore -1 to the n plus 1 due to absolute value. And I should have said use the ratio test and then ignore the whatever, but limit n approaches infinity, absolute values, I've tossed that out. And the top is 2 to the n plus 1, x minus 1 to the n plus 1 over n plus 1 times n, because we're dividing, over x minus 1 to the n over 2 to the n. I really shouldn't put that in that order. Let's have a little fun here. Limit is n. Sorry, I can't believe I just said fun. Limit of n over n plus 1 is 1, because as you get out to infinity, this plus 1 kind of vanishes. Limit as n goes to infinity of... Did this just disappear on me? Weird. X minus 1 to the n plus 1 over x minus 1 to the n is x minus 1. And limit as n goes to infinity of 2. That's not right. This also vanished. Wow, this is very challenging to do with this tablet. 2 to the n plus 1 over 2 to the n by is 2. So we get 2 times x minus 1. Absolute value must be less than 1. Divide by 2, divide by 2. We get absolute value of x minus 1 has to be less than 1/2. So the radius is 1/2. You can keep going from there if you want and center it, and you'll get it from 1/2 to 3/2 where the radius is 1/2. If you went and checked the endpoints, congratulations, but it doesn't say anything about interval of convergence, so no need. Find the first three terms, non-zero terms, and the general term. I didn't read that part, screwed that up. For the derivative, all right? So let's do the derivative. Remember, it's the derivative with respect to x. So a lot of people start doing n's and things like that. When you take the derivative, it won't actually impact the alternating feature here. So they say f prime. They don't say f prime of x minus 1, so I'm not going to write it. So this stays, and this stays, and this stays. Now we got something with an x in it, so n times x minus 1 to the n minus 1. N's cancel, and we get negative 1 to the n plus 1, 2 to the n, x minus 1 to the n minus 1. Plug in 1. How come 1? Right there it says 1. So the first term is plugging in 1. It's going to be even, negative 1 squared, and then times 2, and then x minus 1 to the 0 times 1, plus negative 1 to the third, 2 squared, x minus 1 to the first, plus negative 1 to the fourth, 2 to the fourth, third, x minus 1 squared. And I think I'm out of space here. Oh, I'm not. Good. So my three terms are 2 minus 4x minus 1 plus 8 plus 8x minus 1 squared. And my general term, and I would write that out, is negative 1 to the n plus 1, 2 to the n, x minus 1 to the n minus 1. Let's see, how did I do? Yeah, it looks good. Alright, so there's my 3. Now it says, by the way, if you hadn't noticed, that's a geometric series. So find the function which represents that. And I was confused as all get out, but it said geometric. Whenever they tell me to find a function that represents it, that means I have to do the sum thing. So the sum, as it goes to infinity, is the first term, 2 over 1 minus whatever we're multiplying by. It looks like we're multiplying by 2 times x minus, negative 2 times x minus 1. Cancel, distribute, 1 plus 2x minus 2 equals 2 over 2x minus 1, and I stopped right there because I'm a moron who does not read the full question. Find the function f prime, yada yada, and then use this to determine what f is. Well, f is the integral of that, so f equals integral 2 over 2x minus 1 dx, which is ln of absolute value 2x minus 1. The 2 vanishes because of the chain rule here. Oh, and don't forget there's a plus c. If I go back to the original and I plug in 1, everything is 0, so c is going to be 0. So f of 1 equals 0. So plug in 1, 2 minus 1, ln of 1 is 0, c equals 0. So f is ln 2x minus 1. Pretty cool. That's a lot. Hope you can handle that. If not, I cannot overstate. That's why we're practicing.